Today's Chiefs Report mailbag is sponsored by RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat. Get up to 90% off branded and generic Cialis and Viagra. There's no shame if you're having trouble getting it up. RexMD going to help you out, and you don't have to visit the doctor to do it. You can get it all online. RexMD.com/chat. Go check out RexMD, the #1 leader in men's telehealth. All right, it is mailbag time, so I am Harrison Graham. Let's get to our first question here. From Ollie, thoughts on tag and trade Orlando Brown, and what's the value for him, and what could be the asking price for Chris Jones? Well, let's take this one step at a time here. Orlando Brown, tag and trade. I wouldn't completely dismiss it, and here's why. If he holds so firm on wanting, top dollar, he wants to make more than Trent Williams, well, I'm not giving him that. I'm just going to franchise tag him. Well, what if he says, well, I played under the tag last year. I'm not doing it this year. You could call his bluff, and I do think he'd eventually report, but he skipped training camp last year, and then I think that affected him early on in the season. What if a team throws you a first-round pick, like a top 20 pick for Orlando Brown? I'm not saying I'd take it, but would I listen to it? I might. I might be willing to listen to that. I like Orlando Brown. I've been hard on him at times. He hasn't been the perfect player in this offense, but he delivered in the Super Bowl, man. He was great in the second half of this year. So preferably I'd bring him back, but I don't think you can completely rule out a tag and trade. And real quick on Chris Jones, he made $21 million per year on his last deal, has one more year on that deal this year. He could ask for 25 plus, man. Aaron Donald got 31, and he's better than Donald now. I don't think he'll get 30 plus, but he would not be in the wrong to ask for 25 or more. From Alec Corpora, whatever happened to Cornell Powell? Super chat. Appreciate that, my friend. He signed a reserve futures contract, so he's going to be on the 90-man roster this offseason. And, maybe he fights for a roster spot. Think about the free agents you have. Juju, free agent. McCole Hardman, free agent. Justin Watson, free agent. Well, Justin Watson came out of nowhere. If Cornell Powell can elevate his game, maybe he becomes that Justin Watson role as a number 5 type receiver on this 53. I haven't seen it from him. He obviously hasn't shown a lot in 2 years, but, he'll get another chance this offseason to show what he's got. Terry Black, is Michael Thomas worth the risk? It's an interesting question. I mean, what if Juju gets $20 million per year on the open market? Well, maybe you could sign Michael Thomas. He will get cut eventually by the Saints to some incentive-based deal where he's guaranteed $8 million, but he can make up to 20 with games played, certain statistical milestones, etc. I think it'd be smart for him, number one, just like I think it was smart for Juju to come play in this offense. Come play in Kansas City for a year, 1 year incentive-based deal, ball out, go get the bag elsewhere next year. I could see it happening. I think the Chiefs would like it. I think Michael Thomas would benefit from it. I would absolutely take the risk of signing Michael Thomas if it was an incentive-based deal. Now, would you, be honest with me, would you take the risk of signing Michael Thomas? He's only played in 10 games in 3 seasons. Type S for sign or P for pass. I would. I think he would fit in well here. Get your votes in down in the comment section below. S for sign Thomas, P for pass on him. From Shad Jameson, do you think Justyn Ross makes the final 53 next season? As of now, I would guess no, just because of his injury history and him having to take this as basically an injury medical year again. But, I mean, he's talented. He's clearly a talented player. The Chiefs would not mess with him in his injury history if he did not have the talent. So I wouldn't rule it out. I would bet against it, probably. But big offseason for him. If he can be healthy for OTAs and minicamp and all that stuff, then that gives him a chance to fight for a roster spot. From Julia Colton, Titans are going to cut OT Taylor Lewan. Should the Chiefs make an offer? There's chatter Lewan could retire too, so we'll see. Not opposed. I mean, listen, Orlando Brown's a free agent. I think he'll get tagged and probably be back, but technically he's a free agent. And Andrew Wiley's a free agent too. Maybe you flip Taylor Lewan to right tackle, 1-year deal. Wouldn't be opposed to signing him. I don't think with his injuries recently he's a sign guaranteed to start guy, but he could come in, compete, and if he's healthy, yeah, maybe he's your starting right tackle. I would not be opposed to signing him. From Jerome Bunkers, who did the Chiefs actually get from Tyreek trade? Wondering because Juju signed on March 20th. Tyreek signed with the Dolphins on March 23rd. Well, they got that first-round pick last year, George Karlaftis. They got the 50th pick, which was that Sky Moore? They had multiple second-round picks. They also drafted safety out of Cincinnati. I'm totally – Brian Cook. Thank you, producer Sam. Fourth-round pick, and that might have been the Josh Williams pick, who you got, and he played a big role this year. And a fourth and a sixth this year, so we'll see. Look, it gave you cap flexibility, and all the picks you got, the extra picks, even if it didn't come directly from that trade, you end up finding a Jalen Watson in the 7th round. That trade's probably going to end up being a win-win. He helped Tua tremendously, and the Chiefs were more efficient offensively and had a more well-rounded roster, considering they didn't have to pay him $30 million. So, I think looking back so far through a year, the Chiefs are perfectly content with how that trade played out. From Tom, what's the biggest need going into the draft? I'll still say edge rusher because I don't know what is going to happen with Frank Clark. He's still an inconsistent regular season player. Now, I'd try to bring him back because he's just so good in the playoffs. But I still think you need a pass rusher, although I like George Karlaftis. Dunlap's a free agent too, so you need help there. And then probably receiver because Juju, Hardman, and Watson are free agents. 3 of your top 5 receivers this year. So I think you gotta probably add a piece there if you don't re-sign Juju or get someone in free agency or on the trade market. Now today's show is sponsored by Rex MD, and fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? We've all been there. It happens. We've all had those nights where we get too nervous or maybe you've had too much to drink, but there's nothing worse than not being able to put the stick shift and drive when you need it the most, if you know what I'm saying. But have no fear. RexMD is here spreading cheer even when you have had too many beers. RexMD.com/chat to get a nice deal we'll tell you about in a second. RexMD is a FDA-approved and the most trusted leader in men's telehealth. They have sponsored today's Chiefs Report to help you always be prepared. RexMD has made it simple, easy, and cost-effective to help all of the men out there last longer and feel more confident in the bedroom. RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. It's all online, even the prescription, and they deliver it discreetly to your door. No waiting rooms, no embarrassing trips to the doctor, no insurance, and no copays. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our link. That's RexMD.com/chat. RexMD.com/chat. Maybe you had a little slip up on Valentine's Day and you're looking to bounce back. Get going with RexMD. RexMD.com/chat. Especially as you get older, no reason to get embarrassed. They're going to help you out. You don't have to visit a doctor in person. RexMD.com/chat. That link is in the description and it's in the comments of today's video. Robert is next up. Who will be the Chiefs' first pick in the draft? So they pick at 31, obviously. Look, the Chiefs are in a spot where they can go best player available, but I just mentioned edge rusher, wide receiver. I think you could go potentially defensive tackle, depending on who's available, because obviously you have Chris Jones, but Kalen Saunders and Derek Nottie are both free agents. Tershawn Wharton, a restricted free agent, so could use another defensive tackle. Safety, maybe. Juan Thornhill's a free agent, so we'll see. They might just roll with Brian Cook and Justyn Reed. Hard to say there, but I don't know. Right tackle. I should have mentioned that. I don't think Andrew Wiley returns. I think he gets more money elsewhere, so I think right tackle is a position to target. Kate Chapp, what's up, my guy? Kate Harrison, who do you think we will draft for backup QB? If they draft someone, they could sign a veteran. I like the day 3 guys. I mentioned them I did a Chad Henne replacements video. Subscribe, go check it out if you haven't. I like, the Stetson Bennett's, the Max Duggins, I'm trying to think of who else I mentioned on that video. Jaron Hall is another guy. Jay Kaner I mentioned. Hendon Hooker, if he's in the 4th round, I might invest there. So there's some guys on day 3 that I like. I don't think Malik Cunningham. Oh, I'll throw another name out there. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I would take him as a backup. He's mobile, has a pretty strong arm. So those are a few names to bring in here, compete with Shane Buechele, and let the best man win. A super chat from Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. Thought on moving up for a wide receiver or edge, and if so, who should we draft? I do think trading up's a possibility. You have a couple extra picks. I think Veach has 11 picks this year, so you've got some extra ones. Mary got the extra 3rd-round pick for Ryan Poles leaving to get another job. You've got You've also got a couple extra picks from the Tyreek Hill trade. So I think moving up could happen. And, yeah, I mean, I would move up for a Quentin Johnston or a Jackson Smith and Jigba. Or what if one of these wide receiver offensive tackles that could play right tackle? What if, like, Broderick Jones is there at, like, 2022? Maybe move up, go get him. I think he's a plug-and-play starting right tackle if you want him to be. Funny guy, too. Do you want Matt Nagy to replace Andy Reid once the day comes? Who's funny guy one, I wonder? I do. I'm conflicted because it's one of those things where I think you do have to trust the Chiefs if that's the route they go. These are some reasons why it could happen. We've talked about this a few times. Brett Veach and Nagy have a relationship dating back to when they played college football together. Andy Reid and Mahomes trust him. I think they would sign off on this. He does have head coaching experience, and a lot of times coaches do better the second time around than the first time. It would keep continuity with the staff, but he did struggle when he tried to be the play caller in Chicago. So if you told me he wasn't going to call plays if he took over as head coach, I'd be cool with that. If he did call plays, be a little hesitant. I did not love his play calling in Chicago, and I think sometimes certain head coaches just should not be play callers. They should just be more of that CEO type, and I think he could fall into that bucket. Now, who should replace Andy Reid when the day comes, when he does retire? Type M in if you think it's Matt Nagy. Type O if you think it's other. If you have a name you want to drop in the comments, let me know. It would have been awesome if, this was like 3 years from now and Sean Payton still wasn't a coach somewhere and you just hire him, but he's obviously in Denver now. So let me know, who would you replace Reid with once he retires? Subscribe to the channel. More Chiefs news, rumors, Monday live shows, mailbags, more. Coming at you this offseason and all year round. We don't take off any time. Daily coverage here on the Chiefs Report. Best part, it's 100% free. So support the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Let's continue to grow this show. From Amari, do you think Kadarius Toney will have a big impact this year? I think so. If he's healthy, I think he's in line for a massive year. I mean, maybe he elevates to wide receiver one. I wouldn't rule that out. We saw his impact since they traded for him. Obviously, he missed some time, but didn't get a ton of opportunities. But when he did, I mean, he made plays. I mean, he's explosive as a punt returner. He's great in space. Can turn on a dime. I mean, his skill set is fascinating. If he can be healthy, I think a big year could be in store. Tyleen, would you like Jawaan Taylor as a right tackle? He's a tackle from Jacksonville and is solid. I'd be open to it. I think a team's going to overpay him. Like, I could see him getting $13, $15 million on the open market. I don't think the Chiefs would do that. You could bring back Andrew Wiley for, $7 or $8 million probably, which that might even be too expensive. I would honestly rather just start Lucas Niang, who makes hardly anything and showed promise last year before his injury, then give Jawaan Taylor $10, $12, $15 million. He's a good pass blocker, not very good in the run, which is okay here, I suppose. You're going to throw the ball more, but I'm not overpaying for Jawaan Taylor if I'm Kansas City. What is next for the Chiefs? Well, kind of all the stuff we're talking about, Tony. They got to – I think the first big decision is Orlando Brown, which I think they will franchise tag him, which gives them, again, 4 months to figure out what they want to do with him. Long-term contract, tag and trade, or just keep him on the tag. Juju's a big decision. And then, you got to put together your free agent and draft board. Decide what your biggest needs are. Frank Clark, potential restructure. Patrick Mahomes, contract restructure. I think that is a few different things to monitor this offseason.